Brief Captain here. Today I'll tell you about the cartoon Turbo. Like our videos if you like them. Theo is a snail, but that doesn't mean he has to be slow. Theo dreams of becoming a race car driver and is a fan of Indy 500 star Guy Gagne. Guy has become a real idol for him. Theo even came up with a cool nickname for himself, Turbo, and put stickers on his sink to at least look a little like a racer. Theo's brother, Chet, won't let him watch the recording of the competition properly. He calls him to sleep because he has to work tomorrow. Garden snails live and work in a small vegetable garden. They help tomatoes ripen by throwing out rotten and overripe fruits. But Theo doesn't like this kind of work. He wants to take risks and do daring things. So when a boy shows up on a bike, he refuses to hide. This is the son of the owners of the house, and he likes to crush bugs and other insects with his bike. But this time the boy doesn't notice the snails. Because of his behavior, everyone laughs at Theo. Chet tries to reason with his brother from time to time. He says that a snail can't be fast. It's the way nature intended. But Theo doesn't give a damn about nature. He is a dreamer. In the evenings, Theo listens to inspirational speeches by Guy Gagne and drinks an energy drink advertised by the racer. In the morning, he has to go to work again, where once again a crow will steal one of the snails. Hello. However, Theo is not going to be like everyone else anymore. He sees how the tomato that everyone was waiting for ripens and falls on the lawn. At that moment, the lawnmower comes, but Theo is not afraid of him. He lunged into the grass to save a tomato and almost got hit by a lawnmower. Chet saved him and then scolded his brother. Theo felt hurt and sad and left the familiar yard. He walked for so long that he reached the highway. There he saw a shooting star and wanted to make a wish, but it turned out to be a plane coming in for a landing. Then Theo was blown away by a gust of air from a passing truck and found himself on the hood of a racing car. He ended up at a closed street racing meetup. When the cars took off, Theo caught the spirit and was about to overtake his rival, but then he was sucked into the engine. The driver used nitrous oxide to accelerate, and Theo drank it and flew out the exhaust pipe. He woke up in the morning when the bugs were dragging him to eat him. He returned home, and then strange things started happening to him. Theo's eyes were glowing like headlights. An alarm appeared, and even a radio. He must have started to turn into a transformer. He became too noticeable, and a boy on a bike saw him and tried to crush him. But then Theo woke up with an inhuman, or better yet, non-snail speed. He suddenly became super fast and managed to punish the boy. In the process, the bike flew into a tomato patch and broke several stems there. Because of this incident, Theo and Chet were fired. But then the older brother was grabbed by a crow, and Theo rushed to save him. Other crows appeared and began to fight for Chet. When they landed, Theo chased away the impudent birds. At that moment, Tito Lopez found the snails and took them for himself. He and his brother Angelo have their own eatery where they cook tacos. Tito also organizes underground snail fights, that is, races. The neighbors in the business put up their participants. Tito brings Theo and Chet and immediately puts them on the racetrack. They will be opposed by snails with tuned shells. However, they can do nothing against Theo. He turns on the first space and overtakes everyone in a second, surprising Tito and his friends. Tito has a crazy idea to attract customers with Theo's help. He wants to organize public snail races in front of the restaurant. At night, other snails come to Theo and offer to race. Theo introduces them with his nickname Turbo. He thinks they are too slow, but these snails are not as simple as they seem. They are racing and moving like acrobats on wires, and Theo is riding on the ground. As a result, they overtake him. After that, the whole team starts to like him. After all, they are just as crazy as he is. The next day, Tito paints an advert for a super fast snail, but no one sees it. Even the tourist buses avoid the eatery. Tito was almost in despair, but then he went to talk to Theo. and Theo hinted that it would be a good idea to take part in the Indy 500. At that moment, a truck with an advertisement for Gagne pulled up. Theo pointed it out to Tito. The man liked the idea of a snail. He went to consult with his brother and asked him for money to participate in the race. But Angelo didn't want to invest in Tito's crazy projects anymore. Chet also tried to dissuade his brother, but Theo was too keen on the idea of racing to back down. Tito wasn't about to give up either. He prepared a presentation and showed it to the owners of nearby establishments, but they didn't appreciate the idea of the race either. Then Theo's new snail friends decided to help him. They sabotaged the road so that the bus with tourists would end up in the parking lot of a diner. And while they were fixing it, Tito showed off the turbo's capabilities. Off he went. This little guy impressed people, and thanks to him, everyone could make money. But Angelo wasn't convinced by this performance. But Tito's friends changed their minds and decided to help Theo participate in the race. In addition, Tito stole money from Angel, which he had saved for a new stove. And the whole team, including the snail racers, went to the competition. Along the way, Theo gets a custom-made lip on his sink. When they arrive at the racetrack, Guy Gagne is racing there. He's going crazy speeds in his racing car. But Theo seems not destined to participate in the race. They don't want to accept Tito's application. They throw him out on the street. And then Theo drags his friend to Gagne. He is going to impress everyone with his speed. But when they find out that the race participant is a snail, the journalists start laughing at them. And the guards try to throw Tito out. The snails make the guards leave him alone. And Theo shows his abilities on the track. He develops almost the same speed as Gagne. Realizing that the snail is now the focus of the press, the famous racer begins to worry. After all, he is used to being a star of the screen. Some kid filmed Theo's race and posted it online. The video went viral and was watched by the entire country. The race organizers were now under pressure, but they decided not to let Theo participate. Tito's friends rebelled, and Gagne joined them. He realized that this way he could be in the spotlight again. Guy backed Theo, and the Indy 500 management caved. Turbo was allowed to participate. All his friends were overjoyed. Only Chet was worried about his brother. He was worried that Theo might get crushed on the racetrack. He thought his little brother would get hurt, so he refused to watch the race. Theo realized that his brother didn't believe in him even when everyone else did. But Chet still had to watch the race. A kid picked him up and dragged him to his box, which had a great view of the racetrack. The evening before the race, Theo went into Gagne's garage, and Gagne made it clear that he would never lose to some snail. Gagne appeared before Theo in a new image. He hadn't thought that this driver could be so unpleasant. Theo's team arrived at the race with great fanfare. Turbo was nervous before the race, especially after the conversation with Gagne yesterday. However, once he started, the nervousness went away, and he concentrated on the race. But competing with drivers in racing cars was not so easy. The Turbo could be crushed at any moment. He was scared, but he managed to overcome himself and survive until the first pit stop. Here he was made to understand that he was a snail and should act like a snail, not like a real racer. This helped. Turbo began to dive under cars and overtake his rivals. He pulled ahead, not even hindered by an accident on the track that happened right in front of him. Turbo finally moved into second place and was chasing Gagne. This Frenchman couldn't let a tearaway get past him, so he started playing dirty. When Turbo tried to overtake him, Gagne made the snail crash. His shell pad was damaged, and the shell itself was cracked. One more crash and the shell could be completely broken. Despite this, Turbo went out on the track and caught up with Gagne again. He was about to pass him, but he entered a dangerous section of the track and crashed. There was a massive accident in which Turbo was ahead of everyone. But he lost his speed. His shell was broken. Theo gave up because the finish line was too far away. Then his snail friends mounted the crows and flew to him. Chet was with them. He believed in his brother and forced Theo to continue the competition. Noticing his opponent crawling towards the finish line, Gagne tried to stop him, but only made things worse for himself. The Frenchman's blow sent Theo into a shell and rolled across the finish line. Gagne didn't have time to drag his car here and lost. After Turbo won the race, the business of the Lopez brothers and their neighbors flourished. They were even able to buy a cool new stove. The diner had room for all the garden snails. Theo's shell healed and he continued to participate in races. At the same time, his super speed suddenly returned to him.